Meanwhile, two major sports are gearing up for the postseason.
And finally, the two biggest schools in the state meet on the diamond for the very first time this year.
All these stories and more tonight on Palmetto State Sports.
From the Blue Ridge Mountains and through the Midlands down to the coast, there's plenty of sports highlights and moments here in South Carolina. There's only one place where you'll catch all the action. This is Palmetto State Sports. Welcome into Palmetto State Sports. I'm Will Kronsberg.
And I'm Brianna Walton. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Kicking things off this evening, the women's basketball team earned a few SEC honors now that the regular season has concluded.
The team finished the season 27-1, allowing Coach Don Staley to earn the SEC Coach of the Year award.
Also, Leah Boston snagged the Player of the Year award and her third Defensive Player of the Year award in a row.
And adding on to that list, senior Destiny Henderson made the All-SEC first team and Zaya Cook made the second team.
The Gamecocks are on their way to Nashville with the #1 seed for the SEC tournament. South Carolina will play on Friday in the quarterfinal game against either Arkansas or Missouri. Tip-off is set for 1 p.m. on the SEC network.
And as for Clemson's women's basketball team, Delisha Washington was named first team All-ACC.
Washington is the first Clemson player to earn this honor since 2004.
In ACC play, Washington finished the second in the league in scoring average with an 18.1 points per game.
She also led the Tigers in rebounds, averaging 16.6 boards per game.
Clemson will be taking on Syracuse in the first round of the ACC tournament in Greensboro.
And over on the diamond, two teams in much the same place, but in opposite scenarios, will meet this weekend.
South Carolina is sitting at a 6-1 with 5 consecutive wins heading into tonight after their sweep of George Washington, while Clemson is 7-0 with 15 and 25 runs win under their belt.
But in the arms race that is college baseball, a few pitching injuries have South Carolina relying on some new hands.
Again, Cade started as a freshman, and Aiden Hunter came in as a freshman, and Becker came in as a freshman, and they all threw well. They threw strikes. We only walked 3 guys in that second game and struck out a bunch. So we're going to need those guys to continue to grow up fast and throw strikes and trust their stuff and let that defense work behind them.
The Gamecocks and the Tigers will play a 3-game set at Founders Park, Sager Park, and finally Doug Kingsmore Stadium this weekend.
And it was a little bit of a down weekend for the South Carolina softball team.
The Gamecocks hosted Miami, Ohio, Troy, Virginia Tech, and Ohio State for the Carolina Classic, but came out winless. Coach
Beverly Smith's squad dropped their opener to Miami 5-0 for narrowly avoiding a no-hitter with a 7th-inning comeback to fall to Virginia Tech 5-2 on Saturday.
They end the day with another loss, this time 6-2 to Ohio State, before rain washed out the tournament finale on Sunday.
South Carolina and Charleston Southern faced off in a doubleheader at 5 and 7 tomorrow night before the Gamecocks head to Orlando for the weekend. They have 4 games up in Orlando, and they really need to recover. A really strong start to the season. They only had 1 loss. They went 5-0 in the tournament at Coastal, but this weekend was just a big letdown for them.
I know the Gamecocks really got to get it back together. It wasn't fun sitting there seeing our team lose like this, but that is all we have for the headlines in Palmetto State Sports. But coming up, a look into the sports world beyond South Carolina, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back. Outside of the Carolinas, a look into the pros. SGTV News 4 sports reporter Spencer Ball is here to break down the NHL season so far. Spencer?
Thanks, Brianna. Moving on from the diamond to the rink, let's take a look at the NHL as they are just about 2 months out from the playoffs. Right now, a few of the hottest teams in the league include the Tampa Bay Lightning, Toronto Maple Leafs, Colorado Avalanche, and the Carolina's very own Hurricanes, who are winners of their last 5 games. All of these teams are right near the top of their respective conferences and will certainly be competing with each other to take home the Stanley Cup. Connor McDavid is currently the front-runner to win the Hart Trophy, which is awarded to the player who is most valuable to their team. If he does win the award, he will be the first back-to-back winner of the trophy since Alex Ovechkin won it 2 years in a row in the 2008 and then 2009 season. Transitioning from the ice to the hardwood now, the NBA has returned to action this past Thursday from the All-Star break. With only about 6 weeks left in the regular season, we are seeing teams make that final push towards the postseason. One team to keep your eye on has got to be the Philadelphia 76ers. They're looking fantastic with the addition of James Harden, and Joel Embiid is looking like the front runner for the league's MVP award. They're definitely looking to climb the standings before the season ends and make a run for the finals. Another team that has been putting the league on notice has been the Memphis Grizzlies, led by young star Ja Morant, who set his career high in points with 46 on Saturday, only to break it by having a monstrous 52-point game yesterday against the Spurs. They are currently sitting at third in the Western Conference standings, but are only one game back of the second-place Warriors. If Ja keeps playing like he is, who knows what the ceiling will be for this young team. And some breaking news from the last few hours is that Rob Manfred has announced that the first two series of the 2022 Major League Baseball season will be canceled. Last night, it was looking hopeful for the two sides to finally reach a deal on the collective bargaining agreement, but they yet again had some disagreements today, which resulted in the canceling of regular season games. The two parties will meet again in hopes of resolving this issue, but only time will tell when baseball will be played this season. After the break, to kick off the first day of Women's History Month, stay tuned to hear about a woman in sports.
Welcome back. I'm Morgan Jackson. As you all know, today is March 1st, which means it is the first day of Women's History Month. And because of this, I want to take the time to highlight a woman that many people may not know. Minot Rayom. Rayom was the first woman to play in any of the major North American sports leagues when she was signed to play goalie by the Tampa Bay Lightning in 1992. As scouts had videotape of Rayom to the Lightning, she was invited to camp, and the rest is history. Rayom's appearance in the preseason game attracted so much attention for the Lightning that season they were one of two teams to join the NHL. Rayom went on to help Canada win a silver medal in women's hockey at the 1988 Olympics and the gold at the 1992 and 1994 IIHF Women's World Championship. Rayom now resides in Michigan, but she hasn't stopped inspiring young girls to achieve their dreams. She is currently the coach of the Detroit Little Caesars girls hockey program and a mother of two hockey players herself, one of which is following in her footsteps and playing goalie. I imagine it has to be interesting playing hockey with men. I imagine that hurts.
I know, I could not imagine them on the COG hockey team checking me real quick. That would be terrible for me.
I'd be done.
But it's very inspirational seeing how she's leading these girls to come and follow their passion in hockey.
Definitely.
I just won't be one of them.
Coming up after the break, a look into Palmetto Sports calendar. Stay tuned.
Before we go, let's take a look at Palmetto State calendar.
Gamecock men's basketball wraps up their regular season this week with their final home game tonight against Missouri and a Saturday afternoon road matchup against the 5th-ranked Auburn Tigers.
Meanwhile, Don Staley and the Gamecocks women's team are heading to Nashville as the top seed team in the SEC women's basketball tournament, meaning they will get a double bye before their first game on Friday at 1 p.m. and needs just 2 wins to advance to the championship game Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern.
As for softball, the Gamecocks face Charleston Southern twice tomorrow before their weekend tournament in Orlando, where they face UCF and Florida Gulf Coast twice each. Meanwhile, the Garden and Black are set to meet the Orange and Purple this week on the baseball diamond.
The two teams each play tonight before beginning the weekend here at Founders Park, then moving to Segra for the neutral game and wrapping things up Sunday at Clemson.
And the Tigers softball team has a road tilt against Charlotte tomorrow before the Clemson Classic, featuring Boston University, St. Francis, and Akron this weekend.
As for their teams on the hard court, the Clemson men have Georgia Tech and Virginia Tech at home to wrap up the regular season, while the women's team starts the ACC tournament in Greensboro tomorrow against Syracuse.
Finally, Coastal Carolina's basketball teams will both be in Pensacola this week for the Sun Belt Championships, with games every other day until the semifinals. The Chanticleer women begin tomorrow facing Arkansas State, while the men will play Thursday against Georgia Southern.
Meanwhile, the Chanticleer softball team will hit the road to play in the Bubbly Invitational in Gainesville against Tennessee State, Georgia State, and host Florida.
CCU baseball wraps up the action with a trip north of the border to face UNC Wilmington tomorrow, followed by a weekend series in Chapel Hill against the 24th-ranked North Carolina Tar Heels.
And that's all we have for tonight's edition of Palmetto State Sports.
Be sure to follow us on Twitter at SGTV Sports, and to keep up with all of our content, be sure to also visit us online at sgtvonline.com. For SGTV News for Sports, I'm Will Kronsberg.
And I'm Brianna Walton. From all of us here at SGTV, have a great night, Carolina. Forever to thee.